Hi, my name is Aaron Hilburn, and I'm here with Kenneth Johnson, and we're here to talk a little bit about the lead testing in school drinking water. We're going to be going through several different aspects of it, but our target audience today is elementary schools and daycare or child care facilities. So one of the first things we want to talk about are the 3 T's. And the 3 T's are a set of guidelines that EPA developed. They are training, testing, and taking action. And it's just a way to approach lead in drinking water. And those 3 T's kind of form a guide and an outline for this training today. And so, we'll talk about some of the training first, including providing background information that will equip school staff with sampling procedures. We'll then talk about testing a little bit, how to sample the school and child care facility drinking taps, and then taking action. So once you have results in hand, what do we need to do moving forward from there? So the first thing we want to talk about is the background health effects of lead. So lead is a toxic metal that is harmful to human health. Currently, we believe that there is no safe blood level for lead in the body. It can substitute for healthy calcium and deposit in bones and other places in the body. And once it is deposited, it is therefore life. It is not removed easily at all. Young children are the most susceptible to this because they're growing and their bones are growing, and so that kind of dictates the target audience here as being, those young children ages 6 and under, being elementary schools and child care facilities. So where does lead come from? What are some sources of lead? The most common one that a lot of people are familiar with is lead-based paint. That is, children can come into contact with this at a chipping window sill, or even on a wall that has been scuffed up. It's a place that children can consume lead, and once consumed, it is in the child's body for life. Some other places that you can see lead occur at are in the air, typically through industrial activities. There are some consumer products that have it. Even industry, industrial workers can sometimes bring lead home on their clothes or their shoes. But the one that we're going to talk about today is lead in drinking water. So how does lead get in drinking water? That's one of the questions, or where does it come from when it's in there? So there are 2 ways that it can be in water. One is source water. That is wherever the water originates from, whether it be a lake or a river or even a well dug into the ground. All of these are very rare. It is not very common at all to see lead in those areas. However, it can enter there from contaminated water runoff or water pollution. So the most common way we see lead in water is through corrosion. And so it can be from pipes or solder fixtures or other plumbing materials. And the water that does not have lead in it comes through the water distribution system to the facility, whatever it may be, and passes through a fixture or a pipe that has lead as part of its makeup. And then based upon water quality, there may be corrosion that occurs. And that corrosion can lead to lead being in drinking water. So here's a diagram that you can look at and see a little bit about how lead gets in water. You can see out by the road in the water main, there is a pigtail or a gooseneck there. That is a common place for there to be lead. Lead is a pliable metal, And so as you can see, that pigtail or gooseneck is curved. That is an ability to help make service connections easier. And so lead for a long time was used in pigtails and goosenecks to make that connection easier prior to there being knowledge of the health concerns about lead. And so these things were installed a long time ago, and they're still, some of them are still in service today, and that could be a source for lead. And then once you come through that service connection and come to the building, you can see a solder joint, the faucet, the water cooler. There are other areas identified there that could be areas of concern that you want to know about when you're looking at your facility. So the first thing you want to do whenever you are going to embark on this program of testing for lead in drinking water at school is think about how you're going to communicate. Communication is going to be vital, and it's the communicating with your community is the first step of the 3 T's method. And so take the initiative, begin this conversation prior to testing beginning, and just ensure that everything that you share is honest and accurate and comprehensive. And so, part of communicating is knowing who is responsible for what role. This is a chart that's not mandatory, but it could be helpful in thinking through who is going to be responsible for what communication. It is worth saying that multiple roles could be filled by the same person, but it is also helpful to have a backup for that person. So this is just an example, just some things to think about, how you might want to reach those around you and who you might want to occupy those roles. The next item to be accomplished with regards to communication is creating a contact list. So who are the people that you want to be able to reach quickly? Having names and phone numbers at your fingertips can be vital, especially if you need a quick response. So creating a contact list and updating it regularly is vital to this program and others as well. So that is just a list of people that you might want to consider as being on a contact list. And for this slide, I will turn it over to Kenneth Johnson, and he will talk a little bit about the responsibility for cooperatives.
As far as the Division of Public School Academic Facilities and Transportation is concerned, there are going to be areas of responsibility that are assigned by cooperatives. As you can see in this slide, it indicates that the area, the name of the individual in that area, the cell phone number, and the email address. So if you're a school district that is applying or is in the process of this lead testing program, it is recommended that you reach out to your area project managers for maintenance, for guidance and assistance throughout this process. Also, if you have questions, you can also contact Mr. Tim Kane, the Director of the Facilities Division, at 501-682-4261.
So there are 6 target audiences that we want to talk about with regards to communication. And the first one on the list, you can kind of think of about this as starting at the top and working your way down. This will be those most closely involved to the drinking water there at the school to moving further away from that. So the school, the child care facility community, so the employees, the teachers, the students, parents, they should all be involved from the beginning of the process as far as knowledge of the testing being undertaken. And then moving out from there, you would want to involve your building community. So other people that are at the school on a semi-regular basis, but not maybe every day. So consider maybe school board members or local community groups, those that come into the school less frequently. From there, moving out a little bit further, you would want to be able to communicate with your larger community. So that would involve residents of the town or the city where the school is located, and just the surrounding area of the school. They would most likely like to be informed of the the program as well as the results as they come in as well. And then local community organizations, local health officials, such as health officers, environmental health specialists, doctors and nurses, all of these people can help your community understand health risks associated with elevated lead levels in drinking water. So involving them in the communication process can provide you with important information to be able to provide back to the students or the teachers of the facility. The next step down the list is the state drinking water program, and that is administered in Arkansas through the Arkansas Department of Health engineering program. And so that is the section that I'm a part of, and we will be involved throughout this process, but we want that communication to be a two-way street. Feel free to contact us with any questions or concerns, and we will move forward from there. And then, the drinking water community, this involves the public water system. And so the entity that actually provides the water to the school can help with providing some technical information and other areas of assistance with regards to this testing as well. And they would most likely want to be informed of the program as well. So methods of communication, how are we going to communicate once we get ready to? This is just a list of potential avenues to go down to communicate. None of these are required or none of these are mandatory, but they are a list of just things to consider, things that you may want to use to communicate with people. They're all pretty self-explanatory, but just different ideas of how you might want to share information with others. All right, so we've talked about who's going to do the communicating, who are the target audiences, how we're going to do it. Now, when should we communicate? So, like I said earlier, we want that conversation to begin prior to the sampling, prior to the program even beginning. And then once the program is underway, there are a few things that should cause a need to communicate as well. So as soon as the results are available, that's kind of the end goal. Everybody wants to know, what did we find out? What were the results? So that obviously is a great time to communicate. Once you've done that, if corrective measures are decided upon, so let's say you've got the results and you've identified some problem areas. Those problem areas will require a solution moving forward. Once you've decided on the solution, that's a great time to let people know what you're going to do. If you get the results back and there are no corrective measures needed because lead levels are low, that's great news. Everybody would be happy to hear that, and so that's something you could share with others as soon as you find that out. And then also in response to periodic interest in the program. So if a parent of a student was unaware of the program and they hear about it, and they inquire, it's a great time to inform them and potentially just an update on the program on what's happening currently.